first of all, I want to congratulate you for standing up through the very difficult simulation. I want to tell you that, such simulations are also happening in the real world, and, they're not very different. The change, when the experts are really tedious and very aggressive about, get the processes and the protocols and everything aligned. And, we can talk about some of the failures in that simulation, but we haven't talked about, okay, so what do we do? How can we do it like it should be, or what can we do in the aftermath? So I don't have slides. I just want to talk to you face-to-face. And I want to start with the beginning of this investigation. First of all, I want to tell you just in a brief, we are an incident response. We don't come after the attack. We also have Follow the Sun team around the world, and we also do MDR. And it started from the MDR, from the one problem that many organizations are facing. The fact that they install a software, but they don't have a complementary service that actually fortify the software. So if the software fails, for example, with this vague alert, who is doing what? Is it the security engineer, the CISO, the SOC? Who is supposed to be there? The answer is supposed to be the MDR, the Managed Detection Response. But are they part of Sentinel-1? Are they employees of that company? In my opinion, it's either one. You decide. The problem was that there was no one there to actually take the responsibility. So the communication problem begins there. And if we continued on throughout the investigation, we can see that a lot of other parts are missing, with these dinosaur companies that have great budgets and they do business so perfect that they forget in a different era. And, post-COVID, we're actually in a complete different era from that era that we already wanted to get into. The cyber era started 2010. I'm not sure if you know, but it's not long ago. I wasn't a kid. I was already part of the adults. And so 2010, we had, the incident in Natanz with the reactor, blaming Israel, so-called US, and so on. Starting the phase of the APT, you saw Lazarus, they operate much before 2010, but, we have little to see of their operations because we basically did not monitor. We did not see how those giants operate, but we have recollection and we have evidence of, APT threat actors from the 90s already, manipulating their way, finding espionage tactics and so on in the cyber area. We know about, another complete different space of military where there were espionage and so on, but when the cyber era came, these APT actors, saying from, where I used to stand in the global research and analysis team of Kaspersky, which we were actually part of this investigation we are referring to. We saw stuff like WannaCry, for example, an amazing opportunity to see how North Korea is operating. It's a crazy idea to think of how they actually manipulated so many devices and installed ransomware, which was basically a decoy. Because WannaCry was a ransomware, right? So where is the negotiation? There was no negotiation. And we can see a lot of other attacks from that specific threat actor on the Sony pictures when they wasn't pleased with what Sony is doing, so they decided to hack. And when they did the DDoS, and then that was a decoy leading them somewhere else. So with the question of whether we care about it was Lazarus or not, sure. We can learn a lot from what Lazarus is doing to understand that they are basically financially motivated. They are financially motivated, and they not only hacked into the Bangladesh bank and tried to steal $1 billion, they also knew early on that the world is going to shift post-COVID to cryptocurrency. And that shift, far before NFT and so-called, they built their own internal team. We call it the Sayeret Matkal, or the special ops team of hackers. And they knew exactly where to go. When they stole, when they hacked into Binance, stole, I don't know, a couple of millions, maybe 40, 50, I don't remember the exact number. So in general, they have this specific method of trying to get into cryptocurrency. They have the big operation of calling dream job, when they offer jobs to people through LinkedIn, and they send weaponized macros and so on. And this e-trader, the trade platform, it's not by chance. It's by chance that they found this VoIP company. They don't care about this VoIP company. They're after financial. So the problems here, as we can see, first, who's operating, who's managing, who's actually the MDR, the investigators, who can find what's the modus operandi of the attacker. And second of all, the entire chain of events that happened. And if you have an incident response, and they know what to do, they know how to bring the right legal, the right insurance, the right and so on, the right PR in that case, then you can control and contain. So thank you very much for your time. And Rafi will be right after me.